Hey vinyl community, it's me again, back to show some more cool albums if you're interested. I've had some positive comments on my previous video, so I thought why not make another one. I've been enjoying interacting with everybody. Some people I've watched for years actually, so that's quite nice to kind of finally talk to them. There's still a few people that I'd like to get to know that I watch and enjoy, but that'll come in time, I imagine, hopefully. But yeah, albums. So the first one, basically I went through my racks and kind of dug out a few interesting albums that I thought you might like to see. So yeah, first one, Horse, from 1970, 71. It says 70 on the back cover, but when I've seen it online, a lot of times they'll say 71, so I don't know. But either way, this is an original copy. This is a really interesting album for its time. First of all, let's get it out of the way. Look at that haircut. I mean, really. If that doesn't tell you that this album is going to be scary, I don't know what will. Basically, I can imagine if you bought this album in 1970 and had never heard this sort of music before, you might have been slightly terrified, because this album is heavy as fudge. For its time, it's awesome. If you like Sabbath, if you like super dark, proto-metal, heavy rock, just badass, heavy 70s rock music, check out this album. I mean, it's very rare, extremely rare actually. This is an original, so yeah, to find an original of this nowadays is nearly impossible really. I mean, it's really expensive. Luckily, I got a really good deal on it because it's warped and there's like one of the tracks has a bad scratch on it, but other than that, it's okay. Now it plays 90% fine. Like I say, it's a bit warped, but it plays. I've been thinking about maybe investing in like a vinyl unwarper. I can't remember what they're called, but there's various ones you can get. I don't know if I trust them really because this is such a rare album. I don't know whether I want to actually do that because it still plays, but yeah, anyway, enough of me rambling. It's a cool album. Check it out online. Maybe get yourself a reissue if you like the heavy stuff, as I said. I have to be in the right mood for this one because it is pretty dark. Like the first track, The Sacrifice, like it's talking about like blood and he's making weird horse noises and it's mental basically, but it's really cool. But it mellows out a little bit relatively as it goes along, and then it's just kind of cool, heavy rock then. But you've really got to be in the right mood, or else with me, it kind of messes my head up a little bit because it's so sort of, I don't know, it is what it is, but it's cool. I really like it. Okay, so next one now. Before you roll your eyes and think, why in the hell is this guy showing this album? Hasn't this album been shown a billion times in the vinyl community? It's probably the most shown album other than like Fleetwood Mac Rumours. Why on earth would he want to show Dark Side of the Moon? Well, apart from being a phenomenal album, there's something special about this particular pressing, which you will see now. Now, you come across this one in every record store in the world probably, but what you don't come across every day is this. First press with the solid blue prism. Now, this is pretty rare, and you wouldn't think it would be because it's friggin' Pink Floyd, but apparently this is extremely rare because they basically didn't like the solid blue, and so recalled it, and then you've got the one that everybody knows, which is the kind of hollow prism, which I think looks really nice and probably maybe even better than this, so they are probably right to do that, but I still think the blue is pretty nice. So yeah, this was a really cool story how I got this. Basically, I walked into a local record shop and the owner had this and he was showing it to his friend, kind of making a joke because it looked so scratched, and was like, oh, you know, look at the state of this kind of thing. And then me being a mad collector was like, you know, how much do you want for it? Because it's still a first press, and I still just like to have it, just to have it, you know. And I was thinking he was going to say some insane amount because it is a really expensive album. And he kind of looked at it and then looked at his friend and said, "What do you think?" And his friend said, "Oh, I'm not getting involved in this." And then he looked at me and said, "Well, how about 20 quid? That's £20 for you non-English people." And and I kind of was like, "Yeah, sold." And then got it home. And of course, being a nice kind of quality, thick 70s pressing, it plays perfectly fine. So basically I got like I don't know what they go for nowadays, probably £500-600 or something crazy like that, in perfect condition with the poster and everything. This hasn't got the poster, but anyway, it's a first press that I got for £20 that plays perfectly fine. It sounds amazing actually, a bit of crackle here and there, but overall it's perfectly fine. So that was a hell of a steal. So that's a record I would never sell. And I swear I've never heard that album sound better than that first press. Remasters, CDs, SACD, reissues, none of them sound as good as that. And I swear I hear stuff on that first press that I don't hear on digital versions. Like, you know, the bit where there's the guy, I think it was a security guard they recorded, where he's talking about like, what, I'm not afraid of dying, that bit. You can hear it a lot clearer on this, and when I think there's a woman talking at one point as well, you can hear it a lot clearer on this album, and there's little bits where you can it's a little bit clearer, a little bit more pronounced. And I swear, you know, they say that about first presses sometimes, don't they, that you know, in general, it's the best kind of sounding version, so it doesn't surprise me, but it does, in a way, surprise me. You would have thought that when they did like the remasters and everything, they would have kind of got everything out of the mix they possibly could. But yeah, for some reason, maybe it's just my ears, I don't know, but to me it sounds the best I've ever heard it on that. So yeah, it's quite an experience, you know. If you've got good hi-fi and you're blasting that out, sat there in the dark, it's amazing. So yeah, next one. T2. It'll all work out in Boomland. Now this is a really cool album. Now to me, where is he? Peter Dunton, their drummer and singer. This guy is a lost genius of music to me. He was in a band. What are their names? What was their name? I'm blanking on it now. I think Please was one of the bands, but there was an album he made before that. It's on YouTube. I've forgotten the name of them now, but basically he was in this other band that their album never got released. And it's incredible. It's one of the greatest albums I've ever friggin' heard, and it never even came out. And I was like, this is incredible. Like, shades of like Radiohead in the vocals and just amazing music, and I couldn't believe how good it was. And it never came out as well. I was like, oh my god, that's a tragedy of music. This poor guy, he was so talented. And even the Police stuff I've heard, I think some of the Police stuff was released. But yeah, I couldn't believe how like good that album was. Maybe somebody knows what I'm talking about, but I'm blanking. But anyway, eventually he did have an album come out, T2, and this is fantastic. Basically, it ranges from like heavy rock to mellow. He's got like a lovely mellow voice when he wants it, and it's just beautiful. Really, sort of, it's soul soothing to me. And then he'll mix that with like beautiful arrangements, and then all of a sudden it'll be heavy, and it's just a really cool album. And I appreciate it a lot more on vinyl. I think you really get a kind of the full picture on vinyl of this album, and in general, really, as you probably know. But yeah, if you can ever find an original, this is, I believe, a second pressing, a UK second pressing, which was on a wall of a record shop I found in the middle of nowhere, and I got it for like really cheap. I thought the guy was going to want loads of money for it, but I got it for really cheap, and he didn't know that I'm a collector that knows quite a lot about music, and he was like, "Oh, this is a really rare album, like, what would you want with this kind of thing?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know, mate, you know, I know what I'm doing here." But yeah, I got it for really cheap anyway. Hopefully that doesn't sound egotistical, but you know, people assume, don't they, that you don't know anything sometimes, and I'm like, well, I probably know 100 times more than you do, but anyway. Martha Velez, Fiends and Angels. Yeah, this is a really cool album. Now, you can look up online who's involved in this album, and it's a lot of people. Like Eric Clapton plays on this. The guy from Free, the guitar player from Free, who I'm blanking on for some reason. plays on this. People from Chicken Shack, I believe. Um, just loads of people at the time, 60s kind of rock royalty play on this album. I believe this is the American cover. In England, we had a different cover here, but that's really expensive, so I got this American one for cheap at a record fair. But yeah, this originally came out on Blue Horizon. If you know about blues rock, you probably know Blue Horizon. Fleetwood Mac were on Blue Horizon. And I think this was recorded in London, and there was basically Clapton and Jack Bruce and all that were kind of hanging around, and they ended up playing on this. And yeah, if you like blues rock, if you like psychedelic rock, if you like soul, I guess maybe a bit of funk, if you just like really cool late 60s rockin' music, check this out. She had a really great voice as well. And just for the people that play on this album, it's worth owning. If you're a Clapton fan, if you're a fan, like I say, of all the other people, check it out, because this album is really cool. I couldn't believe how good this album was when I found it on YouTube a few years ago. I was like, my God, this is amazing. So yeah, check it out. Martha Valles, Fiends and Angels. Now, a local shop here recently got a load of original African records. Now, that's a really rare thing here in England, to find original rare African records. You don't normally see that kind of thing. I imagine that's the same in America and the same everywhere. It's not the kind of thing you come across really unless you're actually digging for them in Africa, I imagine. And they're expensive, but I've got a few. And I'll just show a couple. I've got a few more that I'll show another time, but I'll just show a couple now to keep this video not a million hours long. Now, this one is called The Band of Africa by Nones Pedro. Now, this was beautiful. I got this for £20. This is really great. I mean, the thing about, if you know about Afrobeat music or high life music, 70s funky, psychedelic, rocking, life affirming, beautiful music, I mean, what can you say? I couldn't believe it when I got introduced to this sort of music a while ago from the Analog Africa compilations, and once you hear this music, it's like you're going down a deep rabbit hole of incredible, amazing stuff. That's the thing that's good about collecting records, is you get to explore the whole world of music. You get to explore the world through music. You get to explore cultures through music and learn about the world and learn about different times. And I was completely oblivious to the fact that, and probably most people are, unless you're from Africa, that during the 60s and 70s, there was this incredible music being made, like funky, psychedelic. Like, imagine like the coolest psychedelic rock you've ever heard, but mixed with like an African rhythm and African beats, and all in one melting pot to make this really amazing music. You can't believe it. Like, they had influences from like James Brown and all these, like, it's incredible once you hear it. It's like, how can this happen? Like the Polyrhythmo Orchestra. If you don't know them, check them out on YouTube. They were unbelievable. It's just so amazing. Once you, like I say, once you get the bug for it, like, there's no going back. Like, there's never enough. Basically, it's so amazing, and I include that in this. This almost has like Latin rhythms mixed in, Latin kind of melody mixed in with African music, which makes it interesting, and French, because obviously France colonized Africa in various areas. So there's the French language in this as well. It's just beautiful music. I recommend checking it out. This one's on YouTube. Stick with it. You know, if you're not sure at first, stick with the whole thing and see what you think, because it's really beautiful. And there's another one here, Ikengas in Nigeria. This is an absolute banger, as the kids say. These guys were awesome, man. The guitar on this is absolutely killer. Just straight up, just, you know, like, it gets you. It's just, this is just amazing, this album. I think this is on YouTube as well. This is just funky as hell and groovy as hell, and just this type of music is so life-affirming to me. It makes you feel good to be alive. Every time you put these albums on, I'll be honest, I suffer with depression, and you put these albums on and everything's all right for the half an hour you're listening to these albums. It's amazing. It really, you know, like I said, check them out. Okay. I think maybe the last one I'll show now. This is incredible. Now, I'll just read it out because it's quite long-winded here. An evening with Naja Salam and Muhammad Salman. And then you've got some sort of Arabic, or you have Arabic writing at the top here. Kind of a cool cover to me. Kind of, I don't know, it's kind of interesting, kind of artistic in its way, in its simple way, you know. That kind of night scene going on behind them, and them kind of, it looks like they've been spliced on top of it. It's kind of pop art in a way. And then you've got that kind of nice parlophone label down the bottom there with the Arabic as well. It's quite nice. Then you've got some Arabic writing on the back. Beautiful language in terms of the way it's written. And then it's got it in English as well on the side there. But this, particularly the female singer, Naja Salam, I believe she's quite famous where she's from. I forget where it is. I think it might be Egypt or somewhere, forgive me. I used to know this. But anyway, her voice is absolutely beautiful to me. There's so much feeling in this voice. I can't even describe how it makes me feel. It's just gorgeous, just beautiful music. And the guy here as well, he's got a really nice voice and just very sort of, I can't describe it really. This is really intense, kind of almost spiritual music. Maybe it is spiritual, I don't know, I can't understand what they're saying, but to me, like, there'll be like breaks in the music where it's just her singing, like Pentangle, you know, where you just get a break where Jackie McShee is soaring, this, you know, singing this beautiful, soulful interlude. You'll get that with this as well, but she's got such feel in her voice, this woman. God knows what she's saying. She could be talking about a shopping list for all I know. I imagine she's not, but you know what I'm saying, that doesn't matter because it's the feel that gets me on this. Really cool rhythms as well. Like I said, I like having fun exploring the world of music, as I'm sure you do. And if you like world music, if you like funky rhythms, if you like soulful music, if you can find this one somehow, maybe on Discogs or eBay, get it because it's really, really great. If you ever come across either of them, you know, on another thing like a compilation or whatever, I wouldn't hesitate because it's really great. I might even play this in a bit actually, now I've been talking about it. I pulled out a bunch more, but I think I'm going a bit long here, so I'll cut it now. But yeah, let me know what you think. I've had some positive, encouraging comments from people already, which is nice. And yeah, I'll see you soon. Bye.